Do you ever feel like your life is controlled by others? Cliff Ravenscraft here with another reflection from the front seat. And today I want to share with you one of the affirmations that I recite to myself on a daily basis. I use an app on my phone called Think Up, and it's iPhone only, unfortunately, but this is an app that allows me to basically type in all of my affirmations, these thoughts, these beliefs that I have. And if I want to, I can choose to record those affirmations in my own voice, and then it plays those recordings back to me in order or randomized with music set in the background. And so on a daily basis, at some point, almost every single day, I listen to my own voice telling me what I believe, reinforcing, conditioning my intentional chosen beliefs so that I'm no longer influenced to believe exactly what everybody else tells me is the norm and what I should believe. These are the things that I believe, and I want these affirmations in my life consistently so I'm reminded of them. And one of them is this one right here that I've got printed out. It says this. It says, "There are so many demands for my attention in life. I am committed to deciding in advance what I am going to focus on so that my life is not controlled by the focus of someone else or something else." This is a issue that I used to face a lot. I used to have this when I worked for somebody else, when I worked for my mom and dad in the insurance agency. I remember going into the office and there would be days it's like I know exactly what's on my to-do list, and boy is there are a lot of things I need to accomplish today. But you know what? I've got it all. Before I left the office last night, it's all been laid out. I know exactly what order to tackle it so that I know that I can have the right amount of momentum, and by the end of the day, I will have achieved success. And then you know what happened is I would go into the office that morning and I would have a bunch of Post-it notes on my desk. It's like, Cliff, so-and-so called and they said this happened and you need to call them. And there would be voicemail messages of all these other people. And heaven forbid, an entire inbox full of emails with people asking me all sorts of things. And it's like everything seemed urgent. Everything seemed important. And so much of all of those things, those Post-it notes, the voicemails, the emails, so much of that called for my attention and allowed me to put off a majority of the things that I decided the night before would be the focus of my day. Have you ever had that happen to you? I tell you, things shifted a whole lot when I started working for myself. But I got to tell you, just going out and not having an employer that has, that tells you what your priorities are, even working for myself, I still found for the first several years, and I'm talking maybe for the first 6 or 7 years of my business, I found myself still struggling, allowing my life to be controlled by someone else. And the thing is in reality, I was always in control. I allowed it. But I just found myself so fearful of missing any opportunity of some kind of exposure to network and partner with somebody on a project, and an opportunity to speak at someone's event and the exposure that would bring, and the opportunity to give a proposal to this person who might be interested in hiring me for a big project. I was so eager to take up every single opportunity that I found myself that no matter what I said was going to be my focus of the day, what am I going to accomplish today? I found myself often distracted by the phone calls, the text messages, the private messages in social media, and my email inbox. All of that vying for my attention with all kinds of opportunities. You want to know something that will never go away? Opportunities. Opportunities are going to show up every single day in so many ways that's really never going to be a problem. And I learned that. But what is a problem is when all of those opportunities get equal footing and focus in your life. And so much so that they actually take you off the focus of what's most important. And the reality is for the first several years of my business, I didn't even know what was most important. I didn't even ask myself the question, what's most important to me? What is it that I most want out of life? What is it I most want to accomplish in this business? I was just like, I want more people to know about my business, and I want to make more money in my business. And so I felt like anything and everything, that's all. I'll do anything. I'll do everything. I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to work 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's what my life was like. And I was rarely in control of my own life. Although I guess you could say I was in control, but I wasn't intentional about what I was focusing on. I let all sorts of other people's priorities, all sorts of other people's projects, all sorts of other people's requests for my attention get my attention, and I found myself not allowing myself to get my attention first. So I guess all of this really shifted for me when I made a decision to put my health and fitness first. In fact, it was November 2014. I made a decision I was going to start working out 6 days a week, every week, and for the rest of my life. And by this point, I started my own business January 2008. It was a struggle financially that first year and even going into the second year. But by the end of the second year, things were taking off. And eventually, things went very well financially in this business and have been ever since. And I do well. And so I was at such a place in 2015. I was way overweight. I was extremely unhealthy, and I needed to take care of myself. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put myself first. In 2015, I decided to put my business on the back burner. I said, you know what? I'm going to go so far to the extreme. Prior to 2015, I always put my health and fitness last, and I always put my business first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to put my health and fitness first, and I'm going to put my business last. Now, when I say I put my business on the back burner, I still had to do things in my business. I still had to do things that generated income. But you know what? I was at a place where I had so much margin financially that there were very few things I had to do. And so I think that year I did 2 podcasting A to Z courses. I think it was 2. And I answered email. I kept up with email, but I didn't commit to anything. I said no to every opportunity that came my way. No to everything. And I spent hours in the gym every single week. And that's what I did. That's what I did in my business. I put it to the side, and I made a great amount of income. I had lots of other income streams that at that point, that were somewhat passive, and they kind of took care of themselves. So I had income, and yeah, that's 2015. Then when 2016 kicked in, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to put my business back on the front burner. I'm going to keep my health and fitness. How do I do this? How do I get back into the swing of things, but never go back to life the way it was before? And it was the fact that I realized there's all these demands, but what I learned in 2015 is the power of saying no to everything. And it's still my default answer. My kids, it drives them crazy. My kids are annoyed by the fact that they know for a fact anything they ask me, the first response they're going to get is no. And they know to keep working on me and realizing, like, listen, Dad, this isn't business. This is us. This is family. Don't you? And they know how to get me to say yes to some things. And of course, I usually come around. But even everything, it's like, listen, my first response to any request is a no. There are very few exceptions, but I already know what those exceptions will be. And they're only if they're in the top 1 or 2 priorities in my life and business. If it helps me achieve a greater health and fitness in my life, then I will consider a yes before saying no. If it, for example, right now, if it's something that's going to help me add 1 or 2 or 3 new members to my next level mastermind group, then if it's an opportunity that is very likely, almost certain to add 1, 2, or 3 new members to the next level mastermind, I will entertain the idea of giving you a yes before saying no. If it means that doing something is going to allow me to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 more people to make the decision to go to Free the Dream Conference, where their life will be radically transformed, then I'm going to entertain a yes before immediately giving my default no. Everything else is going to get a default no. Everything gets a default no except for those things. All right. So I realize that there are so many demands on my life, but I'm committed to deciding in advance what I'm going to focus on. I'm committed that first and foremost, my health and fitness. I go to the gym in the morning. My goal right now, my desire, and what I am actually living out my life is about 2 hours a day on average. 2 hours per day on average. Yes, there are some days I go and I only do an hour. But you know what? There are days in the week when I do 5 to 8 hours on the bike. So out cycling, because I love to cycle outdoors. So yeah, that is a priority. That is something I'm deciding in advance. That gets my attention first. And that's the first thing I do. This morning, I got up at 4:30 in the morning. I was at the gym by 6 a.m., worked out for 2 hours before I started my day today. And so I decide ahead of time what it is I'm going to focus on. And when I decide that I'm going to focus first and foremost on my health and fitness, second on making sure that my mastermind group is going extremely well, that I'm doing things to serve the existing members of that group, that they know that I am there to do life with them. I'm invested in their success. I am there to mentor them, not just in the meeting, but to blow their minds with how much I care and show them through the things that I do in between the meetings. That is a priority. That is something I focus on in my life. And then the Free the Dream Conference, spending the appropriate amount of time working with my event planning staff, working with my speakers, making sure that this is going to be the most amazing weekend of people's lives that they're going to be talking about 20, 30 years from now, when they're going to go back and they're going to say, remember the Free the Dream Conference? Wow, that's where everything changed for me. Wow. Not that I'm going to change people's lives, but they're going to learn, the attendees of this event are going to learn that they already have inside of them everything they need to change their own lives. And these are my priorities. These are the things that I've decided in advance that I am going to focus on, and I will intentionally say no to every single opportunity that is not those things. So again, my affirmation, there are always going to be so many demands for attention in my life. But me, I am always consistently committed to deciding in advance what I'm going to focus on. Because never again will I allow my life to be controlled by the focus of someone else or something else. And my friends, I encourage you to do the same. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.